House of Representatives begins zonal public hearings on Constitution review. House launches investigation into recovered loots. And House entertains testimonies on recovered looted funds and assets. Hello and thanks for joining us again on You and Your Reps. My name is Victor Azu. Welcome. Now we'll begin by telling you that the House of Representatives has slated its zonal public hearings to hold from June the 1st through June the 3rd, 2021 in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. Oluseyi Adiagbo has the details.
The Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, who doubles as Chairman of the Special Committee, Ahmed Idris Wasi, said each zone will have 2 centers. He added that the public hearing for North Central Zone will hold in Jos, with Plateau, Benue, Nasarawa States and the FCT in attendance, while Lokoja will serve as second center with Kogi, Niger and Kwara States. The Northeast has Bauchi Center, which is made up of Bauchi, Borno and Yobe States, while Yola Center has Adamawa, Taraba and Gombe States. The Northwest Zone is in Birnin Kebbi, with Kebbi, Zamfara and Sokoto States, while Kano Center will hold on 2nd and 3rd June, with Kano, Kaduna, Katsina and Jigawa States. The Southeast hearing holding at Enugu Center will host Enugu, Anambra and Ebonyi States, while Owerri Center will host Imo and Abia States. The Southwest Akure Center will host Ondo, Ekiti and Osun States, while Lagos Center will host Lagos, Oyo and Ogun States. The South-South Zone will hold India Sabha Center on 2nd and 3rd June, comprising Delta, Bayelsa and Edo States, while the Uyo Center holds on 1st and 2nd June, with Akwa Ibom, Rivers and Cross River States.
And the House of Representatives has launched an investigation to ascertain the status of all recovered loots, movable and immovable assets of government. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that the House is interested in knowing how recovered assets were managed or utilized from 2002 to 2020.
Addressing invited stakeholders to the investigative hearing, House Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila says ensuring transparency in the management of recovered assets and the commitment to explore all avenues to generate income for government to meet its obligations are some of the reasons for this inquiry.
The war against corruption will not likely succeed if the Nigerian people do not have confidence that the recovered assets cannot be properly accounted for by those who have the responsibility to so do.
Chairman of the ADHOC Committee, Representative Adejiro Adeogun, enumerated areas of mandates which include to ascertain the value of financial and other assets recovered or seized, determine the level of management, withdrawal and allocation of repatriated funds and assets, which was why invitations for submissions were sent to the Ministries of Justice and Finance, Central Bank of Nigeria, and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, among others.
We believe that the outcome of this investigation will denominate the looted asset recovery process. We further believe that whatever recommendation we make to the House of Representatives at the end of the exercise will help in fashioning down new legislation.
Meanwhile, the House Committee on Customs had a one-day public hearing on the issue of scanners at the various entry points in Nigeria, expressed dismay that the cargo scanners acquired in 2006 at the cost of $120 million are no longer functioning, compelling a return to physical inspection.
Our purpose here today is to ascertain what happened to those machines and to determine why, despite the massive investment in the sector, we did not achieve the modernization objectives.
This has nothing to do with our inability to purchase scanners. Yes, we can buy, but everything to do with poor maintenance culture, lack of accountability, and very sadly, deliberate economic sabotage.
The Central Bank of Nigeria, Nigeria Customs Service and the Ministry of Finance made submissions before the committee. There are increasing concerns on the illegal importation of contrabands, especially arms and ammunition, into the country across the major entry points, thereby exacerbating security challenges. The House believes use of scanners will address some of these concerns.
Meanwhile, all recovered looted funds, whether in foreign or local currency, are lodged into accounts created for that purpose with the Central Bank of Nigeria, with releases from those accounts only effected with mandates from the Federal Ministry of Finance.
The transmission of the proceeds of crime bill in 2017 to the National Assembly by the present administration was hinged on its commitment to ensure transparency and accountability in tracing, disposal and management of recovered loot and assets. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami stated that the bill is, however, yet to be passed by the National Assembly, which gives room for inquiries such as this.
If indeed the National Assembly had passed the proceeds of crime bill, we cannot be here scampering and indeed perhaps couching for information relating to the recovered assets, because that bill has indeed put in place an effective mechanism, both in terms of database, in terms of disposal processes and procedure.
He added that in the interim, a committee comprising key agencies involved in recovery, valuation and securing of such recoveries is in place, pending the provision of a legal framework. On his part, the Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, while answering questions on withdrawals, borrowings, payments, remittances and other transactions in the asset recovery accounts, explained to the committee that recovered loot is a line item in the budget under internally generated revenue and is utilized as appropriated by the National Assembly.
There is a line recovery on the IGR of federal government, and we are making payment reflecting such provision in the Appropriation Act.
We want to ensure that funds, public funds, there's transparency in the utilization of public funds. There's transparency in the management of recovered assets.
The committee requested for more documents for clarification. In another development, Chairman of the Committee on Host Communities, Representative Dumdeko, has insisted that heads of public and private organizations invited to appear should avail themselves before the committee, as it will not entertain delegations.
The things we requested from you are the things that will enable us go to the hinterland, particularly in the Niger Delta, and hold consultations with these communities and the various state government organs that are also responsible for the activities of the oil industry.
The committee is engaging oil companies and MDEs on implementation of agreements in oil mineral producing communities.
Now, the House of Representatives obviously belongs to the legislative arm of government. So, when you hear that the same House holds executive sessions, what comes to mind? What exactly happens in an executive session of the House? Let's find out.
Executive session is convened when the House wants to discuss things that are confidential to it. Okay? Then in executive session, the mace is lowered. You don't conduct executive session with the mace up. You lower the mace. Then you turn off all the microphones. You send away all strangers, all pressmen, everybody goes out, with the exception of the clerk and the members. They will now discuss things that are confidential, things that they don't want the outside world to know until it is made public. So executive session is a meeting convened to discuss things that are confidential, things that the House doesn't want the general public to know immediately. But ultimately, some of the things that are discussed are made public.
A bill for an act to establish Institute of Forensics and Fraud Examiners of Nigeria has now gone through public hearing, having earlier passed second reading. Now, you and your reps therefore engaged sponsor of the bill, Yusuf Buba Yakub, on what the institute will bring to the table if successfully established.
The good thing is the responsible people, agencies of government there that will benefit from this institute in terms of training and so on, have all supported that we need this bill, we need the institute, and we even need more institutes. Because Nigerians have to go to Ghana, to South Africa, to Cameroon to go and get training as forensic experts. Because the institute has been there for 10 years, but it has no backing of the National Assembly. So when you go to court, the court will not recognize the reports or investigations of our experts that train in that institute, except those that have gone to Cameroon or South Africa. And we pay a lot of dollars to go out to train.
And as the House of Representatives begins its public hearings on constitution review across the 6 geopolitical zones of the Federation, you and your reps went to town to find out what the people would like to see.
Most of Nigeria's problem is at the grassroots. The state and local government need to be assigned more responsibility. And secondly, again, the issue of this policing, especially this issue of what do you call it, state police, is an issue that also the National Assembly is supposed to also look at it.
Most of Nigerians are not respecting the Constitution. They are doing things the way they like it. So if the Constitution is amended, whatsoever the Constitution is saying we should do it right, so that we'll get things right in this country. I think that's what I will advise on.
I would like the Constitution that will reflect the will of the people. In terms of governance, whether we have 4 tenures, 4 years for 2 tenures per, 4 years per tenure, or 6 years, 6 years tenure and once for all. The important thing is the good governance.
Unitary government cannot be sustained here. So we should go back to 1960 Constitution, where we have the regional governments. So there should be resource control by the owners of the resources.
This week on You and Your Reps, the committee segment shifts attention to the House Committee on the Navy. We spoke with the committee chairman, Yusuf Gagdi. He represents the Pankshin Kanam Kanke Federal Constituency of Plateau State.
The House Committee on Nigerian Navy is one of those committees that the power to exercise oversight over Navy is donated to it by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to investigate and superintend over the day-to-day running of the Nigerian Navy as an agency of the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to equally look at their budget during the budget process, see how have they performed in the previous year and what will they need in the year under consideration. So it's just like a father and his son or and his family. Navy, House Committee on Nigerian Navy is a representative of the Nigerian people as far as Navy is concerned. The people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria have donated the power on the committee through the National Assembly, through Mr. Speaker, to conduct oversight over Navy What have they been doing with the taxpayers' money? What is the responsibility of the Nigerian Navy embedded in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to protect the nation's territorial integrity, aside of many other responsibilities? How have they discharged that function? Is our waterway safe? Is our maritime domain safe? How are they conducting their engagement with various interagencies that they are responsible for the protection of the lives and properties of the Nigerian people? Basically, we have no limits as to the exercise of our powers on the activities, general activities of Nigerian Navy. Navy is at the front of commitments towards controlling the insecurity situation we have in the country. Navy is the only armed force that trains special force for both the Nigerian Navy and the Air Force. Navy leads the fight against insurgents, Boko Haram, in the northwest, northeast. And how? Because Navy serves as a clearing agent for even the Nigerian Army itself. But people doesn't know this. It is Navy that leads the war, clear the bush, the front, before the Nigerian Army strike, before the Air Force strike. It's the Navy that trained Nigerian Special Force. So, I think Nigerians need to know that just like the Army and the Air Force, Navy are participating fully in the land operations that is being conducted across Nigeria as a country. And secondly, the 2 years in office, how have they functioned? How have they worked? To me, as a chairman who have visited all naval commands and formations across the Federation, I can say without mincing words, Navy have done the best in terms of their fiscal infrastructure, the qualities of their projects, that money is being allocated to them from the budgets. You see the quality, the standard of their work, and the level at which they organize themselves to implement this project from one stage to another and spreading it across the formations and commands in the Federation. I, during my oversight function, have commended the Nigerian Navy for doing the best they have done to the people of this country. In terms of equally collaborating, like I have said earlier, with other armed force committee, armed force agencies like the Army, the Air Force, Navy have uncountable personnel in both the Northwest and Northeast. Anywhere you see military operation, including the South-South, they are there, and the Southwest, the Lagos and what have you. We know the role that Nigerian Navy play in different security situations in this country. We have initiated legislation that will provide the necessary environment for Navy to function. Navy have acquired hydrographic ship, the best in West Africa, the best in Gulf of Guinea. And it was just delivered, it just arrived last week, where the Chief of Naval Staff went to receive that platform. And we are providing a hydrographic and oceanographic bill that will provide an agency for the Nigerian Navy to be able to conduct hydrographic surveys of our waterways. We are doing that so that if there is legislation, the foreign countries that are expected to partner even with Nigerian Navy, based on that legal framework provided for the aspect of hydrography and oceanography in our waterways, there will be support by foreign donors, by foreign expatriates to come and equally partner and see how we will conduct a hydrographic survey of the Nigerian waterways. Aside of that, we have a bill too that passed second reading, which is the Maritime Security Trust Fund. Aside of the Armed Force Support Fund that the public hearing was conducted, in the next 1 or 2 weeks, we are expected to equally conduct public hearing on that hydrographic bill, as well as the Maritime Security Trust Fund, where it differs with the Armed Force Support Fund. The Maritime Security Trust Fund is to be able to get resources from those partners, from those international oil companies, from those maritime logistic companies that are operating within the Nigerian waterways to contribute their quota toward helping the Nigerian Navy to be able to acquire some platform so that the pressure will be reduced on the federal government to the barest minimum. We are doing those things and a lot of other bills that is under consideration by the House of Representatives, and by the special grace of God, we will do the needful to enable the Navy function effectively. None of the armed force of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is technologically okay. They are all technologically sick. We don't have the Google software, military software, that will depict footages of crimes and criminalities that is being conducted. In my engagement as a chairman of one of the Armed Force Committee, I was privy to meet with different security agencies. But some of these things, since government is providing solution for them, it will be immodest for us to mention it to the public view hearing. But others, like the Google footages software, you can imagine a team of Navy, Army, Air Force are conducting land operation. An insurgent will pass across a particular segment of the country. The military doesn't have a software to depict their footages immediately until after 24 hours. What is the capacity of the Google footages that the Nigerian military has? It is better than we don't have. But those insurgents, they have those software to depict the movement of our troops. And that is why you hear attacks on our troops on daily basis sometimes ago. Ambush and what have you. They have the human intelligence and they equally have the technological intelligence. And why is it, someone will be tempted again to ask, why is it that insurgents have those technology and our military doesn't have? I have said it without any fear of contradiction. It is because of international conspiracy, who provide those insurgents with the technologies that they operate with, who give them the intels of the movement of the footages of our own military. Take it or leave it. International communities are part of the problem that is facing Nigeria in times of war against insurgents. I say that without any fear of contradiction. Now, for the Navy, we have the Falcon Eye that can monitor the movement of ships and other platforms on the water. But is that enough? No. Falcon Eye is all across the waterways. But I think government is doing its best to equally increase the capacity of the Falcon Eye, where within the office of the Chief of Naval Staff and other strategic operational commandants of Navy, you operate and you see the sea. Pirates, you depict pirate attacks, you depict movement, bunkering activities through the Falcon Eye, and that is why prior to the coming of Buhari administration in 2015, the crime and level of crime and criminality in the waterways, the level of pipeline vandalization, pirates attacks on the water, and other maritime-related crimes were reduced to over 60% from 2015 to date. In terms of human capacity, yes, there are recruitment going on yearly basis. But is that enough? It is not enough. The manpower for both the Navy, for the Army, and for the Air Force is nothing to take home about. And we are doing our best as Parliament to ensure that the executive arm of government does the needful by providing finances to the Armed Forces Committee to be able to allow them recruit manpower aside of the technological deficiency, to bridge the gap of manpower requirements and again provides finances in the budget for all the Armed Force Committee to equally be able to function by acquiring modern platforms in terms of technology.
Indeed, technology and intelligence gathering hold the key to success in the fight against insecurity. We wish the House Committee on the Navy all the very best in its engagements. And that's you and your reps. We thank you for watching. My name is Victor Azul. See you again.